Hi everyone, it's Keren here, and I'm going to be creating this page, or a page very similar to this, because no pages are equally the same ever, even if you try to replicate them. And I'm going to be using the new Art Daily journal from Finn. The way it comes, that it comes with, hold on, this book, like this, which I have not decorated yet. And then you open it up, and I just want to show you. I'm going to take this out. You have these strings that you could put the papers into different ones. So for example, you could put and open up a page over here and then have it hold, like you holding it there. I like working with it outside of the book just because it's easier for me. The front is beautiful Finn here in the cover, one of her artworks that was made into a print. And it says make room for your voice. And then there's lots of beautiful pages inside with different quotes, and you can use to create art daily, basically create art every day. There's lots of prompts to start your creativity, and it also comes with these are actual prompts. They're little cards. I'll show you. And there's different prompts for every day. For example, if you're inspired by all the colors of the rainbow, what does your personal rainbow look like? Or, and the other side is Finn's artwork. So there's different ones. Take a camera and snap 5 to 10 photos. So it's not always about creating art, but it's also about planning art. So there's just different prompts, and it all comes in the same book. And it's really cool because you can, the whole point of it is trying to prompt everybody to create art every single day, because art inspires us, art helps us. So that's why I like about it. Putting all the links below in the description area. So all now I have to do is just basically pick another page from here, and I'm going to be creating the same one because I do 2 of them when I do live shows. It's kind of silly because I end up having like 2 on the same journal, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. And I want to pick one like this that doesn't have like any quotes in it, just because I don't want to cover the quotes. Yeah, so this one is pretty good. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to protect the center of my page here. And I'm going to use some of the new washi tape. This is the one from, it's called Nocturnal Elements, and it's from also the Art Daily collection. And it has those really nice moon patterns that the tissue paper has as well. So all I'm going to do is just protect the center so it doesn't leak everywhere. I just want to make sure that I protect it in different places. So I just want to put this, and it doesn't matter if it shows, it's part of the journal itself. So the good thing about it is that it seals it in the center, so when I put the paint and stuff like that, it doesn't leak in the middle. So I have also this one, which I'm going to add afterwards, but the first what I want to do is I want to add the tissue paper, because I'm going to put more pieces of this, but I want to first add the tissue paper. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be using these tissue papers. This is a new tissue paper that came out. It's pretty large. You can actually not see the whole area. I'll just open it up on this side. There it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using only a piece of it. Each one of the packages comes with 6 different sheets of the same one. So it's really easy, and you have so much of them, so you can use for so many different projects. And I really want this face here, this moon face. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut this one from this side. Now, this face is going to be on the opposite side of the other one, and that's okay because I used the face that was on the other side. I already used the face on this same tissue paper. I don't want to open and waste another tissue paper. I want to finish this one first. So if you can see here at the bottom, I actually had another face, which is the one for the other side. So the face is going to be at the top this time, and that's okay as well. I think, yeah, so I'm going to do it this way. So the result is going to be the same. I'm going to have the same techniques being used on both of the art journal. So I'm doing the same exact thing I used in the other one, even the same colors. The only thing that's going to be different is where I'm placing the tissue paper. So I think I'm going to place this over here. No, I might save this for a different one. Okay, let's see. I might cut a little bit more of this piece over here. I might even have two faces. Wait, I actually might have space for two faces. So let me just see this. Designing it doesn't really matter. It's all a matter of just playing around with it. No, that looks weird. I don't like that. I forgot that this one is on the same side as the other one. It would be cool, but nah. Okay, let me find just one more piece that I can use. I mean, I can use this for the next one as well, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, there we go. And the nice thing about tissue paper is when you add it, and when you're adding all the textures, you end up not seeing that these were two different pieces of tissue paper. So that's what I like about that. And let's see. I might even put this one over here. And that's what's nice about it. You can actually move things around until you're happy with the way they look. So there we go. So I'm happy now. So I'm going to glue this really easily with soft matte gel. So I really like using it for this. It's really easy to glue this. So I'm just going to add soft matte gel, the background, and then glue the tissue paper. Super, super easy, almost like decoupaging. Just be gentle with the tissue paper. It's very fragile. And obviously, if you've done collaging before, make sure that you seal the tissue paper. Otherwise, when you add the other things, it will ruin itself. So the journal has thin pages, but they take media quite well. I was worried about that. I was worried that it wouldn't, but it actually did, and I was quite happy with it because I wasn't sure how it will do. But it didn't leak, which was nice. I mean, I did seal it, but even with that, I was worried that it will leak everywhere, and it didn't. So this side is done, and you can see, you can barely see the seam between them. This is what I mean, like, it's not really a big deal if you're using pieces from different tissue papers, or if you're using pieces from different sides of the tissue paper. It still works really well. And you can even add small pieces if you have holes to fill in. I just want to make sure that everything is being covered. Now, it doesn't matter if it doesn't cover everything because I'm still adding more things, mediums and paints, and as I said, I mean, it's not going to look exactly the same. And I'm just going to fold this just because I'm too lazy to cut it. But if you don't care, then just cut the edges off. I love making also some, how do you call this, texture with tissue paper. So it's a good way to make texture. And I need to put some glue here. So you see I have it on the opposite side, and it's all nice and easy to use. Okay, so the tissue paper looks good. And what I thought to do is add then a little bit of this if I want, just to create kind of linear lines on this. So what I like doing is I like creating lines going across. It helps sometimes visually, but it's not necessary. And I'm also covering here so that actual washi tape has the texture of a tissue paper. So it's very, very cool. The other one is this one, and this one actually has a really nice quote. Build your wings, let go. So I can put this also as a quote here for the. And there's another one. It says, look for the magic. Okay, there we go. So I love adding this because it's like little gold things right there in my journal, which is nice. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to seal these as well. My page is very, very wet, and that's okay. I'm going to dry this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of gesso. But first, let me dry this a little bit. The nice thing about the gel is that it dries quite quickly. I didn't put a lot of it. I just did a small coat, a thin coat. So it dries pretty quickly. Okay, there we go. Now, I want to add a little bit of gesso. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the heavy white gesso just because I want to kind of even things out. You don't have to add the white one. You could go ahead and add just a clear one, and that will not cover anything. So if you want to keep everything the way it is, just with the texture, with the designs, then you don't have to do that. But what I want to do is I want to kind of blend things in a little bit. And then that helps kind of bring the whole page together. You can also take a little bit of water and dilute the gesso a little bit. That way you're getting kind of like a whitewash over it. The reason why I'm adding the gesso is because when I am going to add the paint, I want to make sure that I'm protecting the paper, that I'm having a good way for the paint to actually stay on the paper, because the gel will create a very smooth surface, and then the gesso will help getting that grip onto the paint. So the gesso helps getting that really nice tooth that the paint needs. Now I just want to remove some of the gesso that I added. You don't want to cover everything. You just want to add a little bit to just blend things in, especially in areas where you don't want the design to show as much. So for example, if the design is too dark in certain areas, you can always cover that. So the rest of it will just have a white wash on top, just to protect the page and to give that tooth to the paint so it will stay on. Because I'm going to be using the liquid acrylics, and I want to make sure that they stay on and they don't all drip off the page. Okay, so I'm going to dry this off, and this, since it's again such a thin layer, it dries off really quickly. I don't have to do much. Okay, so now that it's dry, I have the next layer, but I first want to show you what I'm going to be using. This is a new effect paste. It's called Golden Nugget. And what it has, it's kind of a gel-like consistency, but what's nice about it is that it has some black texture and also some golden texture. So when it dries, the gel itself dries clear, but because it has that black and the gold, you will see black and golden flecks, but that's about it. So I'm going to use this stencil. Oops. This is one of the newer stencils from this year, but any stencil would work for this. And I am going to add some of the texture here in the corner, I think going in this direction. I'm going to be using my silicone brush, which I love. You know how much I love my silicone brush. And all I'm going to do is just add texture. Now, I'm not adding texture everywhere. I want to make sure that I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just going to be covering kind of a triangular area here of my page. So this will be my first side that I'm going to do. And you can hear how texturized this is. I love all the Finnabair textures. The pastes are always so amazing. So this is very similar to the, what is it called? The graphite texture paste. Although the graphite texture paste dries completely black. This one dries clear with the black flakes. But this one has the speckles of gold, which look amazing. And you can still see them after you add the different paints on top. Now, one of the things that I realized is that you have to make sure that when you're using this one, don't add the gesso on top afterwards. Because what will happen is that if you add the gesso on top, the paint will stick to that gesso that is on top of the paste, and then you will not see the golden flakes. You have to make sure that this is the last layer before you do the paint. And the reason why is because this is a gel consistency, when you're adding the paint on top of this, the paint will kind of slide off the gel-like area and will stick only to the bottom, which has the gesso. So you will still see the beautiful golden flecks. So yeah, so that's my tip for the gel. Oh no, I covered the face. I want to, so you can still remove it. I want to remove and I want to cover her face. And I'm calling her face. It's funny because in Spanish, moon is a female, so that's why I'm saying her face. She does remind me of a woman anyway, so that's why. Okay, so this is it. And this, what you want to do also with your stencil is make sure you clean it from this area. Okay, let's dry this up. I had to clean my stencil. So as you can see, I'm going to explain why this composition is like this. So I have put some of it on this corner and some of it on this corner. My focal point is definitely this face over here. So I didn't want to cover her. And I wanted to make sure that I have fluidity between this side and this side. If I only put the gel-like thing or the texture on this side, nobody would look at this side at all. Right now, you're able to kind of see both sides, and it helps the composition. It balances the composition. So I find it really important, and this is what I do in my videos, is I really explain not only about how to use the products and to show you all the new products, but I really go step by step explaining why certain things go in certain areas and why things are the way they are. Why are we putting one layer first and not the other? It draws your eyes across the page, which is really important. So a lot of elements kind of draw the eyes from one end to the other. There are. Okay, so for this, I'm going to be using the fluid acrylics. I really fell in love with these because they're so highly pigmented, and you can use so little bit to create such good effects with it. So I'm really excited to show you what I did, and I'm going to pick a couple colors. I love the violet, ultramarine, and turquoise. Now I recently did a tag, and you can find that YouTube video on the Prima channel and on my channel as well, using them as well. And this one was using the other colors from the spectrum. So like the warm colors, like the orange, yellows, and reds, and I used a little bit of turquoise. So this is a tag I recently did with the same ones, using some other techniques and some different products, but the same liquid acrylics, and I use a different tissue paper. But today I'm going to do the exact same thing I did in this one, just because I want to show you the exact same way. I don't want you to say that I use different colors and get all confused, so it's just easier that way. So I'm going to use these three colors. Oh no, I think I also used the emerald green for this one as well. That's what it was. I think I used these 4 colors. And it's so much fun to do. I'm going to get a paintbrush. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of paint right here on the page, on my mat, sorry. And you see how little bit I'm putting on. You can always add more, but it's really hard to, once you mix everything, to put things back in the in the container. So I prefer putting a little bit because truly they're so highly pigmented. You can see, you can barely tell the color between them, like, you know, the difference. That's why there's little things at the top. And the reason why you can't tell is because they have so much pigment in them. So it's quite fun to do, and you don't need to use a lot of it. I also have a handy water bottle over here, and let's get started. I'm going to start with the turk. I don't know. I always don't know what, you never know what, I never know what color to start with. Let's start with this one over here. So what I do is I'm going to go to this corner over here and just add a little bit of the paint, and then I'm going to wet it. Now once it's wet, it starts dripping down. Sometimes I have to kind of help it, especially around textured areas, but you can see how highly pigmented this is. Another thing is just make sure you keep a wipe handy, because everything will pool right here in the middle, and although I've protected it, you never know. It could always leak inside as well and go through your whole book. And that's okay. It's part of our journaling, but I prefer if it doesn't do that. So let's do that. Let it drip. And let's continue with the colors. So you can add different colors, and it's just basically playing back and forth between the colors. And when they mix together, especially some of the colors mix so nicely together, they look really, really good. Okay, so there we go. Hold on. Now you could also, oops, it gets very liquidy and very messy. You could also move it to the other page. Okay, let's continue on. I will add the purple one soon. I just want to kind of add these colors first. So it does get very, very messy. You can add less water and it will get less messy. And you can always wipe some of it. So for example, if you don't want it to be too dark. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the purple because everything looks so much blue everywhere, even though I've added some of the green. Jody's asking whether or not I use clear or white gesso. So I used white gesso, but you could also use clear gesso. I used white gesso because I gave it a white wash, but you can definitely use the clear gesso and it will just not give it so much coverage. Oh, I like this line going right here. I'm going to keep that. I like that. Even though it looks a little bit weird and it's kind of cutting the face of the moon, I actually like that. So that stays. So if you don't like something, the nice thing about it is that you can easily remove it. If you don't like how something looks, you just get rid of it. You just wipe it off and you just get that effect. So as you can see, you can't even tell that the tissue paper was mismatched, which is really nice to see. So I'll just keep on adding layers, and then I'm going to do the other side. So you want to leave a little bit of the blank space. You don't need to cover everything. It's not necessary. And the nice thing is that having the gesso, you can still remove some stuff out of it. And I will. Okay, now I'm going to let this kind of dry on this side, and I'm going to work on this other side. Because sometimes you have to work in layers, especially with these. If you want to add a darker color and things are too wet, it's just going to continue to dilute. So it's not going to work. You need to kind of let it dry and then work on another surface, or just dry it up with your heat tool. So you can do that as well. Okay, let's see. I want to put some green here. I find that there's not enough green here. Sometimes I just go and just paint on it. Okay. Let's see, where is my, oh, there's the ultramarine. I'm trying to figure out, all the colors look the same when they're here on my mat. I'm having a hard time differentiating them. Okay, let's see. So wherever there's texture, I find that it looks better because like the paint kind of goes in between. It makes it look so much cooler. So I'm still wiping from the middle and letting it, I really love how this face turned out over here. I really love that part. So I'm going to continue working on this side, and I'm going to leave the other side kind of alone. And let's add a little bit of that purple. So you see how many drops? I put literally 4 drops, and I still have so much to work with. I haven't had to replace my paint, not even once, and I've done both sides. So I really find that it's quite, as I said, pigmented. The paints are so pigmented that you really get so much for your money. So it's good that way. Okay, there we go. I really like this. I like that it's dark here and kind of dark over here and less dark over here. Although I'm kind of finding, okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to dry this up. Once I dry, I can kind of tell whether or not I need more. And it's hard to tell while everything is still wet, because when things are wet, they look darker. So as soon as I am going to dry it, the paint is going to become lighter, and then I'm going to know whether or not I need more. Especially this side is kind of dried up already. For this side, there's like paint pooling everywhere. So I could use my paintbrush to just help it kind of move a little bit. That way it will take less time to dry. So the techniques I use for both of them are the same. If you look, the other one, it also has these drips of different colors. Just the face is on an opposite side. That's the only difference between the two. I like this one because it kind of has all these different elements that the other one didn't have. Drying the elements also helps the colors not to kind of become muddy and run into each other. And not only that, if you wanted to right now add warm colors to this, like oranges or yellow, then it would really help to do it while things are dry. If you added yellow and orange while these are still wet, it's going to turn into brown. But if you wait until and dry it all up, and then I could go in now and add some yellow and orange, which I'm not going to do, but I did do that in this tag. I did do it where I added the blue after I had added yellow and orange. So go watch that video. I'll link that below. This is my tool when I'm impatient. If I don't feel like waiting until things dry, I just go ahead and do that. Now my washi tape kind of got covered here, so I think I'm going to add it again. This side got covered as well. I don't know why this one didn't get covered, but the gold one did. Now you can see here, and I don't know if you can, I will try to get this closer to see if you can see the golden flecks. Can you see that they're shining there? You can kind of see when I'm lifting it up that they're shining, that you can see the little golden things on it. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more purple, and I will add a little bit of purple. I want to add so little that I hope I don't overdo it. I'm going to add purple here, and I'm kind of painting it right now. I know I should, like, sometimes I cheat and I paint. It still looks blue, I know, and that's okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of purple to this side as well. So there is that, and let me see if I should add the build your wings and let go, or build your wings, let go. Okay, so let's see if I should put this on again. It kind of disappeared. Yeah, I guess you could have it on there again. Look for the magic. So I'm going to put the other one, I think, up here. Let's see where I could put it. I don't know. I don't want to cover the face. No, that's not going to look nice. Maybe here. No, that one looks weird. Okay, so I can leave it. Maybe I'll just put it on the same side. So once I had this, then I went ahead and I did a little bit of stamping. So I took some archival ink, and this is new old stamp. I want to say it's old and I want to say it's new because I think it's both. And I love finishing up some of the layers with stamping texture. I find it really looks good that way. And I hold my stamp, I've shown this before, I hold my stamp like this, so that way I don't get the full image. So for example, I want to make sure that I get a distress image in the background. So to do that, if you use some kind of block or something like that, it would not happen. You would get like a full exact image of it. And I want to get a partial image. I want to get an image that looks like it was done on purpose that way, which it is. I am going to just add a little bit more on different sides here. That way it really brings everything together. I love these little stamps. I truly like use them so much. I think that's good. Oh, maybe here a little bit. I think what's happening here, this area at the bottom here, I'm going to add a little bit of blue. I'm just going to paint it myself. I think where the tissue paper meets the rest. There we go. That's much better. So I kind of framed it a little bit. Okay, and the last thing I did is I took this new stamp from Finnabair. It's this one. And I took one of the stamps. I mean, actually they match. This is a whole collection that matches. And let's see, what do I want to use? I want to use a saying from here. Take your time, breathe. I put this one, find your balance, but I don't need to put the same one. And they already have look for the magic. I already have here, even though the L is missing there. And I think take your time, breathe. I think that will be good. And all I do is just stamp it. So this stamp is cool. It has all the images that I already used and the tissue paper. So I could add more images if I really wanted to, but the tissue paper did that job for me. So I don't need to stamp things. The tissue paper gives you the perfect image. Okay, you could use a stamp block for this, obviously. Don't stamp like I'm doing. Take your time and breathe. Yeah. Just so you know, just because I'm doing this doesn't mean I actually follow all this. I really try to follow all these advice that I give myself about breathing and following and doing it. But most of the time, I'm just so tired. I don't want to do anything. Oh, I like that, how that turned out. That looks cool. You know, you never know what's going to happen and how things are going to turn out. I'm sure this would look really, really good for those of you who love like oranges and yellows and reds. This would look so cool as well. I mean, I love these colors. I always kind of gravitate to these colors, but they might not always look good, and you might not be in the mood to always work with these colors. Sometimes I'm in the mood to work with the other ones as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a matter of preference in that sense. But there we go. There's the finished page. I want to show you the other. And you see things get dirty, and that's okay. That's part of our journaling. Let me see. Where did I? Oh, no, wait. I forgot. You see, by looking at the other one, I forgot that I did splatters. So wait a second. Let's not finish it. Two things that I forgot to do. So funny. Okay. So let me dry this just a little bit. And I want to show you something that I did with it. Okay. So one of the things that I like doing is, I mean, we're doing our journaling, so we should be journaling. And that's something that we tend to forget to do. I mean, some people do or journal, but I took one of these pens. This is a football pen, and I'm going to journal around this. So it's basically just writing something that you feel. And basically, I like journaling around lines. So it kind of adds a little bit more texture, almost like stamping. Oh, so somebody's asking if I have a clear idea of what I want to do when I'm starting a page. Sometimes I do have an idea sometimes, meaning that I know that I want, for example, the moon image, and I know I want to do texture and a certain formula, but how it turns out, sometimes it's way out of my reach, meaning that I start a certain way, but then things take me in a completely different direction. Sometimes it does work out exactly how I want it. Like this page was pretty planned out. I mean, the other one, I knew I wanted the tissue paper and I knew I wanted the texture, and I know more or less the composition and how things go. So that I know what to do. And once you start doing a lot of journaling and a lot of like art pieces, you will learn where things kind of go and how to do focal points and how to do and how to organize things on your page. So in that sense, yes. But many times I've worked on things and they just don't work out. Especially, actually, a perfect example is this tag. And somebody actually commented on this tag saying like they didn't know where it was going at the beginning with this. And I actually didn't, because I wanted at the beginning to have the texture, that rise area really strong looking. I wasn't going to add blue on this. I was just going to make it all, I'm very monochromatic, and I was going to make it all one color, and it looked so bad. Halfway through this, I was like freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? This is not working out. And I had a deadline. Sharon was waiting for my video, and I could not like finish it. I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to put this butterfly on top, but I did not know what to do. And then I thought to myself, wait a second. Orange goes well with blue, therefore I should add some blue or turquoise onto this. Let me add this. And as soon as I added the turquoise, which I wasn't planning to from the beginning, it totally took a different direction and actually looked good, and I was happy with the results. And many people commented, oh, I didn't know where you were going with this. It looked, because I mean, they were trying to be polite and not say, oh, that looks so horrible at the beginning, but you did an amazing job at the end. And that's usually what happens to me. I don't know where it's going, and then, oh, wow, there it goes. There it is. And sometimes it's just divine intervention, if that makes sense. Not always sure, but it is like that. So I just want to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually journal here. So just to show you a little bit of it. So for example, I can't talk and explain things at the same time as I'm writing. So these are more like messages for myself. It's not so much about other people, like, you know, I don't really want you to read it. It's more for me to look at it, and that's why I'm writing it really messy. But you see, I kind of took these lines and I created things. I could go around here. Like the defined area here is really good as well. So yeah, so once you learn a lot of different techniques, like for example, saying the color wheel, it's something really important to know about, because you know that, oh, wait, orange goes really well with the turquoise, therefore let's put it on together. So little things you pick up along the way. And many times, I mean, I'm working on a project right now for a class, and it's basically sitting beside me here, and I can't fix it. I can't figure out what's wrong with it, and I can't fix it. And I've been in that stage. That was why I said, take your time and breathe. I have not been breathing. All my projects are not working out, and I'm freaking out. So just so you know, not everything works out all the time. So just take your time to experiment. That's what I always say. And try out things. That's my word this year, experimenter, up a little bit. And I want to show you with the white and the black. I'm going to make some splatters. Now I want to show you this just because I wanted to try it. This is the liquid color fluid medium. And what it does is it comes with the fluid acrylics. I mean, you have to buy it separately, but what's nice about it is that you can dilute the fluid acrylics without making them watery. So for example, I just want to show you, because I want to make splatters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these together. And that way, it doesn't take away from the pigment, but it creates a much more diluted version of it. Now all I have to do is just splatter, but I do want a little bit more. The problem with splatters, somehow splatters take up more paint than just like the rest of the stuff, because I don't want to dilute it as much. Now when you're making splatters, make sure you use an apron because they go everywhere. And oh, I forgot another thing that I forgot to do. I just realized that I forgot to add black in certain areas as well. So I forgot that when I actually did this, I actually added black here, but I don't think it needs it this time. I'm going to dry the white. And if you really want to, you could add black a bit to the corners, and you will see the different, you will see it a bit darker, and it will create a really nice border around it. Now I'm going to splatter the black. And I want to add some more. Hold on. So another thing you could use to make these splatters is black and white gesso. So that works as well. I really like the bigger splatters. Somehow I think my paintbrush is too small. But that's okay. It still looks really nice. I think I could also dilute it with water and it will work well. Let's see how it looks. Oh, there we go. So you can dilute with water as well. Although I don't want it on her face so much. Maybe here. Helps. And here what I meant is that you could add a little bit of black here in the edges. It really kind of rounds everything up. So this is basically my page. I'm glad I looked back to see what I had done, because I always forget things. I always end up forgetting. So you see here the faces on this side, and you see some of the black here because I did use black to kind of go in between the purple and the blue. But that's okay as well. And you see I also journaled over here. The stamping is there as well. So in this one I just journaled differently just because I had the lines here. So that was really cool. And you see I also want to show you that it didn't leak. I mean, it leaked in the edges, but it did not leak in between, which is really nice. It really sealed it well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, or you can message me. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, both the Prima YouTube channel. Subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed and have an amazing day. Bye.